104.3 WOMC. Dick Burton with you at 725. Sheriff Mark Hackel on the line here from Macomb County. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Dick.
This is a pretty amazing, sad story that I heard yesterday that I wanted to talk to you about. The amount of suicides or suicide attempts in Macomb County is astronomical. What are you tabulating per day?
Right now, we got from the beginning of the year till the end of June, we had 150 just from Macomb County Sheriff's Department alone, where people either attempted or have actually committed the act of suicide.
And this is, of course, because, in most cases, because of the financial situation, correct?
Well, again, we talked to many experts, and I think everybody looks online, you talk about it, there is some kind of a correlation. I mean, going back to the Great Depression when they were talking about the bankers and some of the problems they had seen, with the financial crisis back then. They're making some correlation to, today's times that we're seeing with the financial situations and the crisis that we're facing with the economy.
Now, are we seeing the same thing at the other counties in the area?
Well, again, we're hearing from most departments that they have seen an increase in calls for service, meaning getting called out to people's homes, businesses, field areas where people, have either attempted to or have actually committed the act of suicide. And so we are hearing that there has been an increase. If you take our numbers and statistics within the county from other departments, it's well over 1-2 a day that we're getting called to. It's a pretty sad reality compared to other things we're dealing with, where people are doing things that they normally wouldn't do under these trying circumstances or times, stealing from homes, from businesses and cars. And I mean, there's a lot going on right now because of the financial crisis, but this is a very sad reality, and I think sometimes people really don't want to talk about it. They don't want to face the reality that this is happening, it is occurring, and there are things that people can do and to try to help prevent and try to reach out to someone.
What are some of those things? That's what I wanted to get to.
Well, again, you need to notice it first. You need to recognize, obviously, people's change in their habits, whether it's their sleeping habits, their irritability, people just being depressed. There's so many things you can kind of look at and make a determination. Somebody's just not happy. They're not doing well. Things are pretty bad, and reaching out for them. If they don't want to get help, there's opportunities for people to reach out, whether it's going online to find some of these crisis intervention locations or hotlines. And again, if people are really desperate and they can't figure out how to get that help, we recommend they call 911 just to get transferred to some location or phone number from their local policing agency.
I think you talked to Rebecca about one in particular, an instance that happened. You'd share with us?
Yeah, last week. I mean, we've had many situations that have happened that have been very trying and upsetting to not only family members and people that are involved, but even the law enforcement officers that get engaged in some of these or respond to these situations. They're taken back by it. And one of those was very challenging, and it was a situation where a person had robbed a bank in Clinton Township. They put out a broadcast, and immediately one of our lieutenants had noticed the vehicle, made a stop with a Shelby Township police officer. They made a felony stop because the person did have a gun and did expose it to the bank teller. So when they made that stop, they were, obviously making sure that they or anybody else weren't going to get harmed. And so when they got out of the car, they made that felony stop, with their weapons drawn. The person gets out of the car and starts pointing to his chest and asking the officers to shoot him, asking them to take his life. The officers, used the appropriate level of force. They didn't need to shoot him. They didn't need to tase him or pepper spray. And even the officer, after finally approaching him and handcuffing him, when he heard the story and the guy broke down and started crying, come to the realization this guy had nothing in his background, never had an issue in the past because of his desperation for financial situations. It does not excuse what he did whatsoever.
Right.
This could have been a completely different scenario where the officers may have taken this person's life, and he was actually requesting that the officers do so, during a desperate attempt to rob a bank.
Are these mostly men that are attempting the suicide?
Yeah, Dick, we noticed that overwhelming majority are males, but we are seeing some females. And again, if I had to pick an age range, I would probably say between mid-20s to early 40s is what we're looking at.
And I would almost thought it would have been older, because somebody who's maybe a little bit older and had been established and lost everything and has no hope later in their life. I almost thought it would have been an older age.
Yeah, not to say that we don't have any of those. We do have people that are older that have attempted or have actually committed the act and completed the act, which is a sad reality. But if you're looking at the actual numbers and kind of get an idea, the range group, that's pretty much what we're looking at on average.
So what we can do as far as a radio station and a radio program here is just urge people to call the people that can hopefully help you out, a crisis line, as you said, on the Internet. 911 if things are very, very severe, and it could be a real critical situation.
Yeah, because you know what, it's pretty sad. I mean, I don't. There's probably a lot of people out there listening right now that probably say, "Wow, I've had a situation like this in my past. I've heard about somebody. I knew somebody. I wish there was something more I could do." Myself, personally, I've been involved in a situation with a friend that had done this in the past too, and everybody feels that sense of guilt. What could I have done? What should I have done?
Sure.
Was there something more? So again, there are locations out there. I mean, like I say, online, there's just so much information to try to help reach out to people. It's just noticing, recognizing, and trying to reach out and pay attention to these people and trying to get them some help.
Gotcha.
And again, if they don't want to, make some calls and see what you can do for these people. To try to help them with their suffering or their pain or that feeling of loss, that they're going through right now.
If you guys come up with any kind of a plan beyond this, feel free to call us and get us involved. We'd love to get involved in this important project, Mark.
And I appreciate you getting the word out, because again, a lot of people don't like to talk about this. Sometimes people say, "Oh, well, this just puts something in somebody's mindset." But I think the people out there that are going through these trying times need to know that people do care about them. There is better alternatives, obviously, and again, I think people need to start realizing or recognizing maybe some of the friends or family members that are going through these tough times right now, that they're looking for some help and some support right now, and letting them know that they do matter and that we do care about them.
That's right, exactly. Well stated. Well, thank you, Mark, for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Dick.
Sure. Bye-bye. That is Sheriff Mark Hackel from Macomb County, and that's the situation out there, 1 to 2 either suicides or attempted suicides every single day in Macomb County this year. And we will have that interview on our podcast, by the way.
Yes, and there actually is a suicide prevention hotline. It's a 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-TALK, T-A-L-K, if you should need to call that or pass it along to someone.
Very good. 1-800-273-TALK.
We'll put that up on the website as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thanks to Sheriff Hackel for joining us this morning and bringing us up to date on that. Wow, what a tragedy. 7:32 now at 104.3.
The legendary Peter